Misha here, and kind of not having a whole lot else to do, let's talk about the Galil Ace again. Now, earlier this year, we showed you this, took it out. This is the still relatively new pistol in 5.56 with the 8.5-inch barrel that feeds from the standard magazines. You know the deal. Well, long before this came out, this model here came out, and we have covered it long ago in the past, and I sold my original. This is the Ace Carbine in 7.62x39. My reason for selling my first one, I like the build quality. It was 100% reliable, no problems there. It's pretty good about taking all kinds of AK mags. But I felt it was a little harsh on the recoil and what have you. So I sold it. This one came in via a friend, lightly used. And since it had J-Ro's favorite sight on it, the Meprolite M21, I figured we'll take it out to the range. So let's see in 2022 how I feel about the Ace in 7.62x39. You know, give it another shot. Especially now that these so-called Generation 1s are a thing of the past, sadly. I was curious if these mags would fit each one. And they do. The 7.62x39 will take a Bakelite very easily. Always good. And the 5.56 Rock'N'Lock will accept the Orlite Israeli polymer mags, although it's a very tight fit. No surprise these mags are tight in all of them. Was just curious. So, yeah, you know, in military terms, the gun has been pretty successful. While the Israeli, the IDF, has not adopted the Ace, which does surprise some people. Over a dozen other nations have adopted it, at least in some numbers. And a few have even made it their standard general issue gun, such as Chile and Vietnam. And of course, it is produced under license by FAME in Chile, and it's also produced by Endemil in Colombia, who basically created the Ace, or at least had a big helping hand in making it come to be. And it is being produced in Vietnam by factory Z111, which is a state-owned arsenal that was set up with assistance from IWI. And in the militaries, of course, we have a few versions. In the 7.62x39, they were known as are known as the Ace 31, which is the 8.5-inch barrel, and the Ace 32, which is the 16.2-inch like we see on this gun. And then for the 5.56 version, it probably has the most variants. The Ace 21 here has the 8.5-inch barrel. The Ace 22 has about a 13.2-inch barrel. The Ace 23 has an 18-inch barrel, although of the three, this seems to be the one that has generated the least amount of interest. Now, those all take the Rock'N'Lock mags here, which is why people wanted the Rock'N'Lock guns. But there are the NATO Stanag mag versions, Ace 21N and Ace 22N. I don't believe they have done, at least in serial production, the Ace 23 and an N variant. And then, of course, the third major caliber is a 7.62 NATO. That would be the Ace 52 with the 16-inch barrel. And there would also be the 52L that had an 18-inch barrel, although it was very short-lived. And then the Ace 53 that has a barrel just over 20 inches. And yes, there have been some 5.45 chambered versions, but I'm not sure if these were ever really sold for military or just were civilian. But it's been quite an expansive family. But the whole purpose of this video was, like I said, to try out another 7.62 by 39 because it's been several years. And again, this is a new gun, just acquired this year. So with that, let's cut over to the first shooting clip from a few months ago for the Rock'N'Lock, followed by the first rounds fired through this new to me X39 version. Then we'll talk about it.
Alright, I am rolling.
Alright, first shots out of the Galil Ace Rock'N'Lock version.
What do you think?
Not bad. Real smooth shooting for as relatively short as it is.
It's got a lot of bark.
Yeah, it'll do. Galil Ace 7.62-39. Let's see how I like it now. Again, not a regular AK. Takes a bit to get used to. Yeah, the left side charging handle threw me for a second there. That day we'd been shooting guns with the right side charging handles, the SIG, the Beretta, and it just, yeah, threw me for a loop there. So maybe Vietnam has the right idea, having it on the right. That's fine on the left. It's just, it does reciprocate though. I really have always liked the shorty 223s, 5.56s, be it the Stanag or the Rock'N'Lock version. And I'm still feeling like the 7.62 39 has a bit of thump to it. It's not exactly what I'd call unpleasant, but you know, based on this gun's weight and just overall very solid construction, it does seem a little thumpy, a little kicky. On the other hand, thanks to the longer barrel and the very adequate flash hider, not a lot of muzzle flash and not significant sound, whereas with the short barrel and all that, you do get both flash and sound concussion out of the short barrel. For what it's worth, the 5.56s have a 1 in 7 twist. The 7.62 by 39s have a 1 in 9.5 twist, which is basically Russian standard. And the 7.62 NATOs have a 1 in 12 twist, so a little bit slower than other guns, like for example the SIG. So that's my kind of initial impressions. Now let's hand over the 7.62 by 39 to J-Ro and get his take. Let's let J-Ro try the Ace. So, what did you think of the Ace?
It's smoky. The weapon itself is light enough that it's kind of punchy off the shoulder. I love this optic. I
actually put that on especially for you.
I mean, it's really easy to pick up. We're shooting at about an hour or so from dusk, and it's, I mean, you can just see it plain as day.
Yeah, it was too hot to shoot earlier. Yeah, he really likes the Mepro optics. I think we both agree you can definitely feel the recoil, but it's not exactly unpleasant. It's just one of those things. I think years ago it kind of took me a little by surprise. Years ago when we took this out along with my SAR-1, and we're rather surprised that this heavier gun thumped a bit more. But it is a good optics mounting system, quite low. We have a very good trigger, good ergonomics overall. In fact, yeah, let's talk about some features and manipulation. Alright, back at the table with the 5.56 pistol. This is kind of a generation 1.5, as we've talked about in the past. It has the non-lightning cut receiver, it has the simplified cut on the bolt, but it still has the Generation 1 style sights and all that. And of course, what makes this unique, if I can do it, I think I have my safety on. Yes, I do. Apparently, there we go. New mag, guys. It does have a bolt hold open, which is nice. It's kind of one of the big features. And nice control. You can either release it here or here. And the trigger is very military. And of course it does have the side folding traditional IWI brace Rock'N'Lock mags. Most of these, of course, take your standard AR mags. This is a very similar feature set, but this is a true full Gen 1 with the lightning cuts here. They're also internal. It has the scooped out cut on the carrier. Of course, it has a longer gas system, although same length of handguard for the 16.25-inch barrel. And it feeds from regular AK mags. And because of that, no bolt holdback feature, of course. Still has the ambi safety. And still has the automatic port cover, dust cover, whatever you'd like to call it. Again, very similar features, just one or two differences between calibers, and of course pistol and carbine. The receivers are all the same, the handguard's the same, just have a little bit longer gas system. Alright, let's try the Ace Rock'N'Lock again. It doesn't have any climb. Held open again.
Is it punchy?
No, not really.
Yeah, kind of smooth shooting.
Smoother than I thought, and very little climb, and pretty gentle recoil. Probably a lot of it has to do with the brace, the not stock. Talking a bit about military history, the Ace first appeared around 2008 and slowly spread. The 5.56 versions, especially the 8.5 and the 13-inch, have probably been the most successful, especially in South America. And you don't hear much about the 5.45, or for that matter, the 7.62 NATOs. And you probably wouldn't hear much about the 7.62 by 39 except for the major use by Vietnam. There they have two versions, the STV, which basically stands for Vietnamese rifle, STV 380, which is the long barrel 16-inch version, and the STV 215, which is the 8.5-inch barrel version. The long was introduced first, followed by the Carbine later on. In the very beginning, Vietnam purchased some Israeli-made Aces, and these were used by the Navy / the Marine Battalion, along with some Tavors. And then when factory Z11 was up and running, they started producing them more for the Army. But the version that was adopted for the Army was a little different. Same length of barrel as this one here, but instead of having this, set you down for a sec because the stock is a little stiff, which is good. Instead of having this multi-position folding adjustable stock with clip-on riser, they use more of a standard Galil side folding stock, more traditional. They still have the top rail, but instead of the handguard with the removable panels, they have just pretty much a traditional Galil handguard. Actually, this is a micro Galil style because there's a screw under here that holds it on, so it's just bolted on. There's no retainer in the front. So what they did is they just took off the fancier handguard and put on one of the standard micro Galil types. They also gave provision for mounting an underbarrel grenade launcher. And they changed it up. As I alluded to earlier, they went back to having more of a traditional AK cocking handle on the right side and a more traditional AK selector dust cover on the right versus the Galil style here. And they simplified and streamlined a few other parts, and they made sure that the guns could work with their existing magazines because they were being put into service to replace older Russian AKs and Chinese Type 56s, so they wanted to be able to use their own magazines. So they're the major user of this variant, and that's kind of why I thought having one of these again, even if it's not exactly Vietnamese style, would be cool. That said, because of the hinge and knuckle here, it looks like a standard Galil stock would go right on. You just press up on this, remove an E-clip. Maybe one day I'll try that, just putting a regular Galil stock on. Same goes for the handguard. A micro would go right on. And if you really wanted to, you could get a different top cover and probably switch it over to right side charging. I have to think about that. You have to do something about the dust cover on the left. It would be a pain. Safety, yeah. But at least you could probably put the Vietnamese style stock and handguard on to give it somewhat of the look. But it would be a hybrid. And like I said, as far as the 5.56 version, this of course being a pistol, we have a brace instead of a stock. But it's a good looking brace, and it's actually very usable. Still prevents a very nice compact package. And this is a lot of fun. Yeah. I really enjoy both of these for different reasons. Although, if I'm being honest, I do like the 5.56 version more. I kind of always have. But then again, it's just kind of unique. And the ace one more time. Again, this 7.62x39 came into the store as a trade-in. Actually had the Mepro with it, and I wanted to give it another go. Compared to a lot of other modern AKs, say the Arsenal or the Baril, it's nice to have a folding adjustable stock. Having a true machined receiver is good. The low mount for the sight is good. And one thing I really like about the Generation 1 is we still retain true iron sights. And these aren't just simple backups. They are fully adjustable, complete with tritium night inserts. And the fact that it is pretty compatible with almost all AK mags, except for Arsenal's waffle mags. But the waffle pattern actually makes it hard to go into the mag well. So they won't work, but most others will. And also compared to most other Kalashnikovs, at least military ones, the trigger is superior. It's not a match trigger on these, but it is, yeah. And these are threaded, removable flash hider. You do get a very high quality cold hammer forged chrome line barrel for any of these. And that was kind of one of the major goals of the ACE program, was to make it just compatible with modern devices like suppressors. You can remove these panels to put on foregrips, lights, lasers, whatever you need to. And pretty much any optic will work. It really is a shame that the Gen 1s are gone. Oh well, they were around for a while, so you can still find them. But these Rock'N'Locks, they were meant to be a limited number. I think 500 came in. I'll be honest, I had to be talked into getting one a little bit. It didn't require a lot of convincing, but I was very happy with my Stenag version, and I did a video a while back talking about which one was the keeper. I'm content with the fact that I kept this one. It is a little more unique, and I've got plenty of Stenag guns, and I have to admit it does look better with the Galil mag in it versus Stenag. Gives it a more of a trim thing. And another major kind of reason, I know it sounds silly, I apologize, but you know, this doesn't have the lightning cuts, and it's got the simplified bolt carrier. I do like having one that has the older style cut on the receiver and bolt carrier. Small thing, but you know, going forward. Maybe next time we'll take this one out and shoot it side by side with, say, the Baril and the Arsenal, and I don't think if I've got any other modern AKs. There's not that many out there today. But, I don't know. Wanted to take it out, kind of get my feeling. I still feel like it is overgassed, but I also do feel like it is a quality gun. It's not ammunition sensitive. It's not magazine sensitive. You can mount any optic you want on it directly out of the box. You don't need an adapter or a rail or any of this stuff. It's good to go. And it comes with a perfectly usable stock. The adjustments are nice. The only thing, it's a very straight plastic butt plate. I wouldn't mind if it had the rubber type like you do find on the Ace 7.62 NATO, the Ace 308. I do like that rubberized type. Not so much to tame the recoil, but that rubber sticks to your shoulder. When we were shooting, it was hot and we were sweaty. So having a little bit of rubber to stick it to your shoulder is nice. It even kind of works that way with the IWI brace because that is rubber. I do like the pistol grip. It's a very comfortable grip. It only has one mild finger groove. I do like the selector, the thumb selector. Typical Galil, but just modernized a bit. As long as I don't forget which side the charging handle's on, I like the left side just fine. We're all allowed to have brain farts, right? Mounting a sling on one can be a little tricky because you just have this bar in the front and the loop in the back. Both of these I put IMI, IWI. This is a little bit of a heavier material. This one's a little bit of a lighter. This one's meant more for submachine guns. This one's meant more for carbines like the Galil SAR. So they seem like a good match. So I just think these are good representations of one of the most modern guns that is not a bullpup, that's still kind of kicking about. Well, what do you think? Now let's try the flash hider with the Ace Rock'N'Lock. Well, there you have it. Fun guns to revisit. It was kind of interesting that JRO2 felt that this was a little punchy, but for him, of course, it was made up for by the optic, and that also has to kind of give credit to the cheek riser. The ergonomics there are quite good, and the build quality cannot be argued with. It's just the simple fact that these are overgassed, and that's even comparing to a lot of other Kalashnikov pattern guns. It's difficult not to go ahead and hang on to any Gen 1 now, because, yeah, they're no longer made, and you know how that goes. But I do think the lightning cuts are interesting, harkening back to the originals, and I like the scooped out bolt carrier. Very much reminds me of the original micro Galil. But it's just a very solid, identifiable gun, and the fact that it uses standard mags is kind of neat. What's ironic is the pistol is the opposite effect. What makes these desirable to people is that they brought over this small batch that takes the proprietary mags, the Galil mags, whereas most of them, of course, take Stanag. Goes to show you, no matter what you do, there's always a group that wants something else. This is and has always been a keeper. It's collectible, but it's also just a lot of fun. And I do like the bolt pull open system. It's pretty slick. Ironically, I feel like this has less recoil, but then again, it is 5.56 versus 7.62 by 39. But a very reliable gun. Have to get this back out to the range again soon, I think. So what do you think? What Galil Aces do you all own out there? Gen 1, Gen 2, which caliber? Let's kind of discuss it in the comments. This is very much a relaxed video, just hanging out, talking about some favorite guns, and be kind of interesting to know yours. With that, if you could, as always, like, share, and subscribe. Greatly helps out. And if you'd like to help support the channel this summer, you can check out the link to our Patreon page. This is Misha, and we'll catch you very soon next time.